What a weekend. The Texas Pinball Festival has come and it is gone. And I've flown away from Texas. I'm in New York City. We're going to do a recap of Saturday, day 2, here on Coast to Coast Pinball, episode number 72. Let's go. Welcome to Coast to Coast Pinball. My name is Nate Shivers, podcast commentary man out of quarters. You know the story. So again, episode 72 is going to be like episode 71, where we're mainly recapping the day at the Texas Pinball Festival via audio I recorded on site and some brief kind of thoughts on what I saw. I will be doing a full-on review of the show, a trip report, as you will, probably tomorrow, which would be Monday. I had to fly. So this was a crazy schedule for me. I had a bunch of work. I had to fly to the Texas Pinball Festival, got in Friday, did the whole, Friday evening into the night, first day of the show, did the podcast, got about 4 hours of sleep, got up, headed back over to the Embassy Suites, North Dallas, Plano, where the Texas Pinball Festival is being held. And then Saturday is kind of like the big all-day long event where there's lots of speakers, there's tournaments galore, full day of pinball, pretty big crowd from what I saw. And then on a side note, not pinball related, I've mentioned this before, I'm a huge University of Arizona Wildcat college basketball fan. Been watching them since I was like 7 years old, and they were playing in the Elite Eight of the NCAA tournament. So I had to leave the Texas Pinball Festival in the late afternoon, go back to my hotel, watch the game, have my hopes and dreams of a national title for Arizona crushed, have a dagger stuck through my heart as they lost by 1 point in overtime with some questionable officiating, and then go back to the show for some more. And I gotta say, by about 11 p.m. Saturday night, with all these pinball machines around me and it's still going, I was so worn out. I had to tap out. I called it a day. I waved the white flag. I gave up. It was really a lot of fun. I met so many cool people. You hear this from other people often, and I heard it from attendees at the show. It's sometimes the pinball can become secondary at a show or an event like this because it's such a cool hang with all the other pinheads, all the other, enthusiasts, the people who are sort of like you. It's pretty amazing. So I had a great time. Friend and listener of the show, Shane from Australia, made a long voyage to Texas from Sydney, and I hung out with him quite a bit at the show. He sort of was my second player on my 2-player games, and we had a lot of fun running around. I hung out with Mark and the guys over at Elevation Games quite a bit, who I cannot thank enough for being so gracious as to let me sort of have a home base at their booth with the t-shirts. Sold a bunch of t-shirts, really appreciated that. I saw t-shirts already on people from listeners of the show. I was telling someone who asked me, what they had seen somebody come up to me and ask me if I was Nate from Coast to Coast Pinball, and they'd said, "So what's that like?" And I said, "Well, it was funny because it happened to me a few months back at It Never Drains in Southern California, and it kind of creeped me out. And I don't mean creep me out in a bad way. It was a little jarring for someone to recognize me off of what is, a very niche little podcast that in my day-to-day life I don't think that, nobody really knows about." So not only was it a little jarring with that, they also, I've had people like straight up ask me about, sort of things that I talk about on the show, and it shocked me a few times. However, at Texas, the vibe was different. I was ready for it, and it happened over and over and over again, and it was so much fun. I really enjoyed getting to talk to people who listen to the show. So if you're listening and we chatted at the show, I can't thank you enough. Everyone was so friendly and so supportive, and I had great compliments. People just seemed really happy that pinball's on an upswing and that there's shows like this one and like the Pinball Podcast and Spooky Pinball and Game Room Junkies and the Pinheads and Broken Token and all these podcasts. People enjoy that. People make that part of their lives. So it was very, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. I guess that's my payoff. I got a lot of people asking me, so, like, do you make any money off the podcast? I'm like, well, no. This is fun for me. This is an outlet for me. But meeting the people who have enjoyed the show, that's the payoff for me. So I had a great time. Total blast. So thanks again to Mark at Elevation Games. And let's get on to some of the audio. I think the first thing that we're going to hear is Roger Sharp talking a little bit during his hour-long speech on Saturday morning, which was very funny because Steve Ritchie was sitting in the front row and asked the first few questions of Roger, and it was pretty cool. And I recorded the whole thing and was just looking for little pieces, something to play you to sort of like let you feel like you're sitting in on a seminar at the Texas Pinball Festival. And I picked this piece out because I thought it was sort of interesting because Roger asks the crowd how many operators are there, and he sort of tries to show them a little bit of math and a little bit of a business thought that's, maybe not the standard outlook or take on this subject, but I thought it was really insightful and interesting nonetheless. So let's drop into Roger's seminar here.
How many of you folks here are operators? A couple. If you're giving away 20% on replay, that's a $100 game, you're giving away $20 a week. If you're giving away another 2 to 3% on match, and it kind of goes down the road, all you're doing is eroding what your earnings are. I always believe that games should be placed on at a wall. And when Steve used to get us the numbers for the Broadway Arcade internally, everybody would say, how is that possible? Because he's not giving away free games. Video gives you an extra life if you're playing Robotron or Defender. It doesn't give you a whole new game when you hit a certain threshold. So anyway, that's my feeling. It's a personal crusade. It never really worked too well when I was at Williams and Valley with Joe Dillon or Blatz or Marty or anybody else. But I think that we've gotten to a point with pinball where it is coming back a little bit more and better. There are the retrocades and the barcades and some of these other places like Pinball, New York Pinball with Steve. But I think by and large, the biggest hurdle for pinball machines as a commercially operated device is earnings. If it can't earn as much as the video game or the dart game or the golf game, you got a problem. And the other major factor into that, admittedly, maybe some of you have found it depending on where you play other than in your own basement or your friends' places, maintenance. And a lot of the people that were around back 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, aren't there anymore. And you go into places and the games are just not maintained. And, it's 50 cents or $1 to play, and you put in your money and the flipper is off, lights aren't there, or God only knows what. It's a bad experience. And a mechanical device, just like a car, needs routine maintenance. And for smart operators out there, what they understand more than anything else is the resale value. If I buy this game, I'm going to buy a new Star Trek or a new Metallica, a new whatever. If I maintain this game, it's going to accrue in value. If I run it down into the ground, well, that value is not going to be as great. Medieval Madness, now talking about what Rick and Doug are doing. Take a look what the price points are for, this is a used game that's 20 years old. I mean, it's remarkable to think that it has escalated in value to the point of 2, 3, 4, 5 times what it was originally priced at. So I think that there's something to be said just to have a little TLC when it comes to games on location.
Obviously, listening to Roger Sharp is pretty cool because, he's sort of Mr. Pinball in this country for the past few decades. He led the charge for legalizing pinball in a bunch of different areas, obviously New York being the famous one. He's been involved in game design. He's one of the greatest players probably historically in the history of the game. His 2 sons are 2 of the top players today. He's involved with new projects now. So he has some great points there. And I don't totally 100% agree with you're giving away 20% completely because some of those replays wouldn't have been bought. But he does make a valid point that on a video game, you get an extra life, and Add-A-Ball is available on most games as a setting. So pretty interesting thought. an extra ball instead of a credit for, hitting the score. It's how I have my game set at home, because what good does a free credit give me on a home use only game that's not making money? Nothing. I want the extra ball. So I thought that was interesting. And then obviously driving home the point of keeping games en route in good condition. That's important. I mean, we've talked about it many times. 2 miles from my work, maybe a mile from my work, there's a bowling alley sometimes I think they have 5 or 6 pins, and you'd think that would be somewhere I would frequent all the time. I would go and dump quarters into these games, but they're in horrible condition. Terrible shape, unplayable, parts falling out of them. So it's really important. So I thought that was good. Now, he did mention Medieval Madness there, and you will notice a lack of audio here on the show from Rick at Planetary Pinball. I just kept missing him. Every time I was doing audio, I couldn't find him, and then when I would see him, I was just on my way to do something else. So I didn't get to chat with him. I did play the game. I'll do sort of an in-depth thing on what I thought about the game. I talked to a lot of other people who played the game, had a lot of thoughts on it. I'll just give you my briefest of brief reviews, and I do hope to catch up with Rick soon, maybe even have him on the show if he would like to come on. He's going to sell a lot of these games. It looks great. It plays great. I had issues with flipper power. It's been addressed on Pinside forums. You can jump into those threads, read all that. There's some back and forth going on that. I heard that all over the show. That really wasn't just me who said flipper power was an issue. I heard lots of different people bring that up. But that's not anything that can't be rectified very easily. Obviously, the trim thing. I did listen to Rick's seminar speech, but I kind of caught the tail end of it because I had been out doing another interview, and I heard him address the trim issues. That was a hot topic. A lot of people were not happy with what the gold trim looked like in person. I didn't like the gold trim idea from the very beginning because I don't like what some of the older attempts at gold trim look like. I think it wears off, and then he knows that those kind of polished brass look, quote, gold, do wear off, and he's attempted to find sort of a solution to that, but the solution ends up being a color that I don't think a lot of people really liked. And he did confirm at the Planetary Pinball seminar, speech, whatever you want to call it, there will be 3 offerings of trim on the Medieval Madness remake: chrome, the gold, and then a black. And the details in the black seemed a little fuzzy. I don't know if he said no high gloss, like, pearl black. It's going to be some sort of a matte or a brushed black of some sort, I would guess. So I think, obviously I'm not in on the Medieval Madness right now. I think that it's going to be very successful for him. There's already a lot of rumors about what the next game will be. We'll talk about that more in the future. So a game that is pretty much ready for prime time now from a boutique builder, and a game that you can't get unless you're already on the list, is Skit B Pinball's Predator machine. Predator is a limited game that they're only building 250 of. That was part of their licensing deal with the Predator people. So the guys at Skit B have sold those, or have at least people in line for those, with a waiting list that's well over 100 people. So it doesn't sound like they're going to have any problem selling the Predator machine. I'll go into my thoughts on the Predator in the next episode as I run down the whole show, but I will tell you this. For the price that they're selling it for, and from sort of, the grassroots approach, it's an impressive accomplishment. It is a very impressive accomplishment. We'll go a little deeper into it, but I got to say, talking with Kevin from Skit B, as you're about to hear, seems like a really genuine, good guy that the pinball community is lucky to have, pouring his passion and his time and his energy in his career into the pinball world now. So let's drop in and talk to Kevin Kulik from Skit B Pinball. All right, I am here at the Texas Pinball Festival with Kevin Kulik from Skit B Pinball. How are you, Kevin?
I'm doing great, thanks.
So we're sitting here looking at the Predator, and there is a skull and a spinal cord painted in real blood, I'm assuming, hanging up both sides of the game. Are you trying to scare people away or draw them in with that?
A little bit of both. We just wanted to stand out. How do you think we did?
It stands out very well. You know, the first thing I noticed about the game, and I hadn't seen it in person yet. This is my first time getting to see it in person. I love the color-changing lights in the back box. I think that's one of the coolest things, and the way it kind of plays off with the cabinet artwork, I think that's really great before you even get to looking at the playfield.
I like it. We pretty much just put the game in the charge of Chris Marquette from Pointacre, and he just ran with it, did everything he wanted to, and this is what we came up with.
So this game right here that we're playing, is this still prototype to you, or is this like pretty much what we're going to see shipped out?
This is really, really close. I don't think you'll be able to pick out anything specifically as a difference between this and a game that'll show up in your house.
So how many plays do you think this game's had on it in the past 24 hours?
I can actually check it later, but I don't know. We had 1,300 last time in Louisville over the course of the weekend. And this has gotten about twice as much play. So it's been under just extreme duress and beatings, but it's holding up really well.
Have you seen anything here at the show that you're like, okay, mental note on that when I get home, I'm going to change that, or are you like just thumbs up right now?
We're pretty high thumbs up right now. We had one thing that I wanted to change. I had to change a rubber out, so I came into the show hall about a half hour early, and there were already people like lined up trying to figure out how to turn it on. So as soon as I turned it on, they immediately went to playing it. I eventually got that rubber changed, though.
So you guys had a license to build 250 of these machines, correct?
That's right.
Okay, so those are all sold, right?
Yeah, they're all pre-sold. We have a waiting list of about 100, 130.
So there's no real danger in those games not being accounted for at this point?
Unless something terribly catastrophic happens, yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen. This is one of the big buzz things at the show. I got emails last night after my podcast last night. I was like, why didn't you talk about Predator? And I was just waiting. That's all. I was just waiting. I wanted to play it. And yesterday I couldn't get near the game.
Yeah, I just snapped a picture. I'm going to do the whole Facebook thing. We had about 15 people in a line at one time, and that's more exposure than this thing's ever seen in its whole life.
This dude right here is at, I think, 200 million. Is that a good score?
Where's he at? Ball one, ball two? It's all about setup. See, lock one lit? No, he's not doing very well.
He's doing better than I did. One thing I'll say about the game is it doesn't instantly feel like, I don't instantly think, oh, this plays like Funhouse, or oh, this plays like this. It is pretty unique in its layout.
Yeah, we run a big risk with that because we have some unique shots, and being the first game we made, I don't want people to be turned off thinking we don't know what we're doing when we're actually overdoing something. But it's all about mental. It's all about the software setup, getting your hunt set up, your locks, and killing spree ready. If you can do it all at the same time is when you're going to really see something crazy.
How far along in the thought process, and I don't even know if maybe in design, because I've listened to other interviews you've done talking about the next games, because obviously you've sold these 250 games pretty much. Now you got to build them and ship them, but you've got to be thinking in your head, I got the next one on my mind. How far along? Do you have ideas?
The next one is actually playable at my shop right now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. A lot of interesting use of physics on this one. We're hoping to be able to debut it at California Extreme in July.
Well, I plan on being there, so that's exciting. With the theme and everything, like full on, this is the next game we're doing.
Actually, I don't want to give away too much, but the license holders that are involved are planning on coming with us.
That's awesome. So that was what I listened to your interview with the Pinheads guys in Australia, and you seemed to there was a sense that maybe you ran into some roadblocks with the Predator license holders along the way, or it wasn't super smooth.
It definitely was not as smooth as it could have been, but it definitely went smoother than it could have been too.
That's a great way of looking at it. But you think so? Just by saying that they're coming with you, the next one might be even better.
Again, if to really explain it, I have to tell you exactly who it is.
That's what I'm trying to get you to do. No, I'm just.
But as soon as you see who it is that comes out, they're really like, oh, I get it. Those guys are totally involved.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, is there anything else that you're going to do with Predator after that? Are you going to keep taking it to shows, or do you sort of get the sense now, like, well, I got them sold, and it's where we want it to be. We're done. Let's just build them.
I don't know. It depends on, because these things are going to be going all over the place. And of course, before I bring mine, I'm going to call people that are already out there. Like if I have to go to California, I'm going to call somebody in California. But would you please bring that so I don't have to? But if it comes down to it, I might just bring it anyways.
When do you plan on having the 250th game of Predator shipped and done?
someday before I'm dead.
Okay, fair enough. One more thing I wanted to ask about, because I had a couple direct emails on the blacklighting effect. So you have 2 strips of black lights on each side of the game, or is that just that one tube, or how does that work?
There's one large, like 28-inch T4 blacklight bulb that goes along each side. So that each side has a 28-inch bulb on it. I wish we could get a little less lighting in here so you can really see the effect. To get the full effect, it has to be in a dark room. But
yeah, you have the GI definitely bright enough to play this game in the dark.
Oh,
but then you get like when we just saw the game ended and the ball drained, the black lights take over and it lights up the playfield, and specifically the ramps really pop out.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of cool. We were avoiding using the fluorescents at first because they have to be on all the time, but it really doesn't distract you. When the game is at natural lighting, the lamps just get like a little bit of a bluish hue to them. It kind of makes them look kind of cool.
That's very cool. Kevin, I really appreciate you spending a little time on Coast to Coast Pinball, and I wish you all the best of luck, and I hope to see you at some more shows.
Absolutely. See you in California.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
Wow, listening back to these clips, I sounded so much more awake yesterday. I'm worn out. My voice is thrashed right now. I could barely talk last night. So Predator was definitely one of the must-see titles there, but I kind of had this sort of weird thing with Predator. Like, I didn't even really want to get attached to the game because even if I really like it, what good's it do me? I can't buy it, right? So it probably felt the same way a little bit for the Skip B guys. Like, yeah, they're proud to show it off, and it's like finally, and you can tell by their pinside posts, it's a long time coming. They're excited, but for me as a guy who's not on that list and can't get in the waiting list, if I wanted to, it was sort of like, okay, cool, there it is. What else is there? What else is there that I might possibly be a part of someday? And I think without a doubt, as far as the boutique games, the non-Medieval Madness remake, the non-Ford Mustang, as far as the small build, new ideas, new concept game, the company that had the most buzz going around from players I heard, who were talking while they were waiting in line for their games or in tournament lines, the company with the biggest buzz for their product, I think hands down, is Multimorphic, and that's Jerry Stellenberg's company. And we're talking about their P3 platform pinball machine, which they had set up on display there running the game Lexi Lightspeed. And I had not followed this super, super closely because I knew it wasn't really ready for prime time, and I had anticipated kind of going in to one of these shows where it would be with a real fresh look on it and be able to play it before I started, making any judgments. So it was kind of me going in with blinders on, and I think you'll probably hear that because I didn't even understand that the back third or the back quarter of the game where the ramps and the pop bumpers and everything are, I didn't realize that actually comes out and is interchanged game to game to game. I thought that was static in the game, but that's actually not. The giant LCD screen with light tracking and ball tracking capabilities, that's the static part, along with the cubes that pop up. So Jerry's going to talk to us here about that. Seems like a really good dude who's genuinely, excited and really pouring his heart and soul into this project. So it was probably great for him to get to see so many people just line up to play this game the whole weekend. There was never a time when I walked up to that game where there wasn't somebody playing. It just got played to death this weekend. So that's awesome for them. And let's drop in and talk with Jerry from Multimorphic Pinball here.
I am here at the Texas Pinball Festival with Jerry. How do you say your last name?
Stellenberg.
Stellenberg. I didn't want to screw it up. I have a habit of doing that. How's the show going for you so far?
Oh, it's going great. A lot of interest in this machine.
So we're here at the Multimorphic Pinball booth with the P3 platform showing off Lexi Lightspeed Galaxy Girl.
That's right.
And this machine stands out, and I've had a few people say this to me, like, this is the standout machine at the show because it's a pinball machine, but it's completely different.
That's right, yeah. We're trying to completely change the paradigm in pinball. Pinball's changing from an operator-based market to a consumer-based market, and the old-style machines don't make a lot of sense to go into consumers' homes.
You were telling me yesterday about this game. One of the things that you think is going to help drive this is you can get more than one game in one purchase. You can actually get 2 games here.
Yeah, we're going to start by shipping 2 games. It's a multi-game platform for physical pinball. So we can totally change the shot layout, the artwork, the graphics, the rules, and we're going to ship the machine with 2 games and continue developing additional games. It's essentially the video game console model, but for physical pinball.
What has been, so far in the development, what are some of the big hurdles you've had to clear and you now feel like you've gotten past?
So there are some technical challenges and some social challenges. Technical ones were we're floating the flippers and slingshots over top of an LCD monitor. We're not drilling a hole through a piece of wood and mounting physical devices there, because we're tracking the ball as it rolls around, and there's beams of light going around that we don't want to block with the flippers. So there's some technical challenges getting all the mechanics working right. And then, of course, because we're changing a paradigm in an industry that's so deeply rooted in tradition, that people just aren't necessarily open to new ideas. So we had to get the machine here, let people play it, let people see it, let people get excited about it, and that's happening.
So one thing that's interesting I notice is about 2/3 of the way up, where the sort of the physical side of the game that's not the LCD screen is, you have this row of blocks that are the sort of incandescent clear sort of blocks that light can shoot up through. That'll be present on every game design for the P3 platform?
Yes, so we have the main LCD with, the flippers and slingshots below that. Above that we have a row of, we call them scoops and walls.
Okay.
And we can use those in a variety of ways, such as to restrict the ball to the lower playfield only, to allow certain paths through to the upper playfield, to open up, scoop shots that you can shoot down into. But that'll be part of the main platform. And then beyond that is a traditional style of wooden playfield with shots, ramps, loops, targets, bumpers. And that portion of the machine will be the modular part.
So that's the static part that's going to be there on all the games designed for this platform.
Yeah, the walls and scoops are static.
And the ramps and the pop bumpers?
Ramps and pop bumpers are on a modular portion of the playfield that we can literally lift out of the machine and put in a brand new set of shots.
That's all. See, I didn't understand that yesterday when I was playing. I was thinking, they have to design these shots into every game, but you're saying that back quarter, I guess, can be game by game by game.
That's right. The physicality of pinball is important to us, but we wanted to be able to change it up. So the upper third portion of the playfield is literally a module that pulls out of the machine.
That's awesome. Now, as far as Lexi Lightspeed Galaxy Girl, where did this theme come from? Who designed it, et cetera, et cetera?
Dennis Nordman, who's a popular game designer, designed Pirates of the Caribbean. He's a bunch of the big ones, yeah. He got involved with the project early on and wanted to develop a game for it. So Lexi Lightspeed is his design. He came up with the theme, the Lexi Lightspeed concept, and he did the playfield layout for us.
And what's the other game that'll be shipping in this first combo?
Cosmic Kart Racing. It's a kart racing game that's never been done in pinball before. And what's going to be interesting is, whereas Lexi Lightspeed has some static shots, you shoot into the pop bumpers and the ball can stop, Cosmic Kart Racing as a high-speed racing game is going to be very high-speed, flowing, lots of loop shots and ramp shots.
That's amazing. When might we see the other game at a show in the future? Is that something that you're thinking about bringing out?
Yeah, we started developing them in parallel, but we're battling consumer perception of the game, and it needs to be far enough along where they can understand what's happening. So we changed it to a serialized method. Now we're developing Lexi first. We're about 50% done on the software. We have 2 or 3 more months of work to do on Lexi before we start whipping out the Cosmic Kart Racing design.
Excellent. What's the future hold, do you think? Where do you need to be? What do you want to do next? When do you want to start selling games to people?
So we're already selling them. We're taking pre-orders based on what you can see here today. We're still a startup. We're looking for money to get us to production. We're hoping to get that money here in the near future and get machines out in 9 months or a year. There's still a lot of engineering work to do to make sure things are long-term reliable and functional. But our goal is to build a company and sell machines. We're hoping that we can show people pinball doesn't have to be an old school, a toy that you used to play 20 years ago. It can be a toy that fits into your home today.
What does it take to get on the pre-order list right now?
We're offering a $10,000 deal that comes with 2 games. So most machines are selling for, other manufacturers are selling games for 7, 8, 9K. We're selling 2 games, 5K each for a 10K total.
How long does it take to switch between the 2 games?
It sounds like it would take a long time, but literally it takes 60 seconds to pull the glass, pull the playfield out, stick a new playfield in, put the glass in, and maybe just a couple seconds per decal to make the artwork look totally different.
And the artwork's pretty amazing because it's all magnets, right?
That's right. It's just like car magnets go on a car. Our cabinet's metal, so we have magnetic decals that just plug on and off.
Does metal add weight or take away weight versus a wood cabinet?
It depends on the metal, of course. Our current cabinet is heavier than a traditional one, but we need to go through a weight reduction process and get rid of that weight.
Gotcha. Well, that's amazing. Well, as you can see, there's been a line here the whole show to play it. I've only gotten to play it one time. Every time I come up, there's somebody playing it. We've got the youngster here playing right now. But I really wish you guys the best of luck, Jerry, and I hope you're going to be at the Midwest Gaming Classic? No.
No, we're being very careful about the shows we go to because we have the one machine. We don't want to ship it. We want to drive it out, and we're still heavy in R&D, so we're still trying to develop it.
Okay. When can people see the game next?
We're definitely going to Pinball Expo in Chicago, and then we're still figuring out our schedule in between then.
Excellent. Well, thank you for coming on Coast to Coast Pinball.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, in the last episode, you guys heard me talk directly with Mr. Gary Stern from Stern Pinball, and I was cautiously optimistic about his speech and his seminar time to see what he would have to say. Listening to all the seminars back in October at Expo, which I listened to a lot of them streamed over the internet and then later posted on various websites, I kind of had the feeling that we're not that far removed, because if you think October, well, then you got the holidays where not a lot happens, and now we're here at the end of March. That's not that much time really for a whole lot to change. Now, obviously, Stern announced and released Mustang since then, so that was definitely on Gary's mind. But I know what the deal is with Stern. They're very tight-lipped about what they got going on. I heard some pretty cool rumors about things coming. Summertime's going to be a big release for them, from what I hear. Gary started out by joking that he was going to talk about anything we wanted to except what the next game was going to be. So then he sort of went into classic Gary Stern, vintage Gary Stern, if you will, with a lot of the same kind of... this is not derogatory. I'm not trying to chide him at all here. I'm just going to say that Gary's a busy guy running a company, and he acts, as he told me, I think he told me this off the air, that he's the international salesman. Like when they sell internationally, he kind of handles the international side of the sales himself. So he's busy, and he can't custom write a new speech tailored to exactly that day at each festival, really, because there might not be enough to talk about. So he sort of has his go-tos, and he kind of surveyed the crowd and asked him who's heard him talk about this, who's heard him talk about that, and really most of the people at this festival who'd paid to come had not been at Expo, and a good portion of them probably didn't take the time to go listen to his speech online from Expo. So he told a lot of the same stories. He talked about barcades, talked about the collectors, the operators, and the home enthusiasts, or the enthusiasts. So no groundbreaking news coming out of Gary's seminar. I did grab a little clip about Mustang Pinball that we'll play for you here, and I think he is trying to draw the correlation here between pinball manufacturing and car manufacturing, and then also pinball enthusiast and car enthusiast. So let's hear from Gary Stern.
Okay, we'll do Mustang. Mustang, well, first of all, car manufacturer is... Some of you have heard me say this, but we're doing cars, and we'll talk about why we're doing Mustang. But car manufacturer, Mustang designer, all of that is very similar in what we are, a pinball manufacturer. But why is that similar? We design games because we love games. These guys design cars because they love cars. But nobody does it just as an art form. Well, some people do, some hobbyists do, so forth, just because it's cool and what have you. But if you're really going to make mass volumes, you're doing it because you want people to play them, to drive them, whatever the case may be. And therefore, you must do them so that you can manufacture them. You must design the car to be manufactured, and you must manufacture it and sell it and so forth. You must have a business plan that says you're going to make money at that, so you make money designing that car so that you can have fun designing the next car. If you don't make money manufacturing, then you don't get to make another car. Same thing with pinball. Our job is not to design pinball. We are a manufacturer. We are first and foremost a manufacturer. We're an American manufacturer. We make our games in the Chicagoland area where all pinball should be made because all the people who work on it and design them and so forth are in Chicago. The people who own the tooling for the little plastic boat are in Chicago. So, that's where it is. And even when Atari made pinballs in California, when Steve Ritchie was out there, a lot of the parts, they came from Chicago. People have design studios for pinball in Chicago. That's where it is. But it's manufactured. You have to manufacture. You have to have a business plan that makes some sense, and you have to make it. And the biggest part, the easiest part is the design. The hardest part is making them. Same with the car. So, we see a lot of similarities. You guys trick out pinball machines. People trick out Mustangs or other cars or Harleys. There's a group of enthusiasts who love pinball. There's a group of enthusiasts who love Mustangs or Harleys. You all know we made Harley. Same type of concept. Same kind of enthusiast. But outside of the enthusiast market, there's a bunch of other people who play pinball or would like to play pinball if we can expose it to them and if we make it the right game for them, which we... casual player, right game for that casual player. We'll tie all this together eventually. Maybe. Or maybe you'll have to come back another time for me to tie it together. So we have we have the same type of core player or core car collector and the same kind of not core people just, they're going to drive a Mustang, but they're not really be into it and collecting and what have
you. All right, well, I certainly didn't get to everybody at the Texas Pinball Festival, all the vendors. I wished I had done more, but I had this bad habit of, playing pinball. I was there partly for Coast2Coast Pinball to report and talk to people and interview people, but honestly, I was also there to play a lot of games, and we'll talk about that a lot next episode. But I did spend some time with a new company and a vendor who just popped up literally in the last week, and they were called Pinball Swag. And what caught my attention at Pinball Swag as I was walking by was they had high-resolution printed giant vinyl posters of classic Bally Williams translite backglass art. So they had a giant Medieval Madness, and I think you'll hear in the interview they're 4 by 6 feet. They have a giant Attack from Mars, a funhouse, awesome game room decor or arcade decor, and then they also had, kind of going the other way, was mouse pads, normal rectangular squishy mouse pads, and I actually bought an Attack from Mars mouse pad because I just think the artwork's so cool for Attack from Mars on a mouse pad. So that'll be going to my office at work when I get back to Taylor next week. So I stopped in real quick to talk to the guys from Pinball Swag and kind of want to see what they're up to. We are here at the Texas Pinball Festival, and I'm here with Greg Campbell, and at his booth, Pinball Swag. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
You guys are located local here, right? Plano?
Yeah, we're in Plano. Been doing custom sports products for about 15 years. And we're going to be getting the license to do this Bally Williams merchandise for about 2 years. So now we're going to be doing the T-shirts and gift items and everything with all the Bally and Williams artwork on it.
Yeah, I was walking by and they have these amazing mouse pads for your computer mouse with the Funhouse backglass or the Bride of Pinball backglass, and they're really nice. So I think those are going to do well for you.
Yeah, they've been doing pretty good. We actually got permission Wednesday night at 11 p.m. to sell them here at the show. That's how new all of this is. So we're going to be getting everything on our website, adding more art, more titles, and everything's just got to get through the legal channels to make it where we can sell it.
Your brother Steve was telling me that the Williams logo shirt's been the biggest seller of the show so far?
Possibly. We've been selling them and didn't really expect it. That was the last one we got approval for, so we only made 6, and they're gone in a heartbeat, and that's what everyone seems to want. It's just kind of one of those odd things.
It's iconic, and it's a cool piece of history. So we also have these giant like the Fathead posters, right?
Yeah,
like
the giant wall clings.
The wall clings, like a giant Medieval Madness. What is that thing, like 5x3?
They're 4 foot by 6 foot.
Wow.
Laminated, vinyl cling. You can peel it, stick it to your wall, or just hang it up.
This is like game room awesomeness.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool stuff.
Makes a big statement.
That's awesome. And so you're going to have t-shirts with all the different Bally Williams licenses?
Yep, and we're starting with the original promo shirt designs. And that's why we kind of started with Dr. Dude and the Earthshaker and Medieval Madness. And these were from the original promos. We scanned the art from the shirts, redrew the art, and then we're direct printing them on. We can print them on any colored shirt that we need to.
And you guys are at www.pinballswag.com for those of us listening not local to Texas.
Yeah. And hopefully, as it keeps going, we'll be adding new art, new products, probably all year.
Well, I think everybody listening to my show at least needs a t-shirt, a Williams t-shirt, which is very cool, or a mouse pad. And just me, I want a mouse pad. I think
That'd
that's
be
awesome.
great.
Yeah, it's very cool. Well, I appreciate you spending a couple minutes with us, and best of luck. Have a good rest of your show.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Thanks a lot.
All right. As I said last episode, we don't have a sponsor here at Coast2Coast Pinball. Nobody pays me to do the show. Nobody buys commercial airtime. However, I mentioned at the beginning, I mentioned last episode, Mark Ordat from Elevation Games was my sponsor for the weekend. And so gracious, amazing games. I got to play in his booth both a Hercules and a Safecracker right next to each other. So giant game, small game. I got to play a Varcon. They had a fantastic Bonsai Run prototype game there. He had some, obviously some A-list titles. He had a Tron LE, just fantastic stuff. Had a really good time. So I'm going to give the final interview segment of the Texas Pinball Festival 2014 interviews and recaps to Mark at Elevation Games, and that's how we'll wrap up this side of the podcast.
All right, we are here at the Texas Pinball Festival. I'm at the Elevation Games booth area space with owner, operator, president, CEO, head chief of Elevation Games.
The one-man show.
The one-man show, Mark Ordat. How are you, sir?
I'm good, how are you?
You probably haven't listened to last night's episode yet because it just came out this morning. But you are not the sponsor of my show, but you're the sponsor of me this weekend, actually. Yeah, you're actually my sponsor.
Well, it makes me feel good.
Good. Well, I know it makes me feel good that I have a sponsor. How's the show going for you so far?
Show's good. Venue's nice. People are good. Layout's nice. I think as far as the show part goes, they did a good job. It's a good show.
So this is the first year they held it here, correct?
Right.
And last year you were telling me it was in downtown Dallas?
Yeah, so last year was at like a Hilton Anatole, which is a really super high-end property. And it just didn't, I don't think our demographic fit well for that type of property.
Are you saying that we're not fancy as pinball players?
I'm saying like pinball players, it's a middle class type, hobby, and it's not aristocratic for the most part, and that hotel is definitely aristocratic. So now we're in suburbia, which is where we need to be.
I like it. So tell me about what you brought here to the game for your business. You sell and restore pinball and arcade games, correct?
Yep, I do. So what I brought 28 pieces, mostly pinball, a couple of video games. I bring, say, 4, 5, 6 pieces out of my personal collection, and the rest of the stuff is just, inventory games for sale. So there's really nothing notable on the inventory stuff that's there for sale. I think the reason people like my booth is just because I get the oddball stuff. I mean, Hercules is here, and what idiot wants to bring, a 600-pound pinball machine that's just a complete whip in the booth?
And you sold it, right?
Yeah, so I brought that game for 3 years. It's been to 5 different shows, and it's won 3 awards. Grand champion in first place for 1970s last year. Won grand champion in Houston last year. And then it won a third place, I think, 2 years ago at TPM. So I decided to put a price tag on it to see what happens. And honestly, before the show started, I had a guy come out and buy it. So yeah, it's gone. It's time to go out and search for another one and do it again.
There you go. How about the 8-year-old girl in front of us playing ice cold beer?
Yeah. I thought you said we talk about the above age ones.
No.
Oh, that's where you edit the part out? Okay.
I edit nothing. It's all good.
So the Ice Cold Beer is a game that I have been after for like 2 years. And it's not like it's one of those unattainable games. It's just, man, they're hard to find around here in decent shape. So this particular Ice Cold Beer is actually a game that I made some minimal effort to buy a year ago. And the guy brought it back this year. And long story short, we ended up making a deal, and now it's in my booth. And I will take it home and let the wife and kids play it. If they like it, we'll keep it, and if they don't, then we'll get rid of it.
You have a Tron LE here. Is that a game you take home and play? Is that yours?
Man, so that Tron LE is like, I bought that brand new in the box, and it's never been to a show. It's like the first year I brought it. It's actually never really been out of the house for the most part. And I mean, Tron LEs have been here before, but it was a good filler piece, and it looks good. And I don't know. It was time. I've had so that, I mean, the new is worn off the game, so I'm okay bringing it to a show. And if it gets a ding in it, it's not the end of the world.
Is that not for sale?
Not for sale.
Not for
I actually
sale.
had a lady offer me insane money for it last night, and I told her no. So then, like, I brought a Spider-Man, which is all. That's probably my Stern version of a Twilight Zone, where you just kind of dump the kitchen sink of mods into it. Next to that, what else did I bring? Oh, Scared Stiff. Scared Stiff's a cool game. I've got an 8-year-old daughter. She loves that game, and it's like, if it didn't come home, I would be in great trouble.
I understand. Teresa's a big fan of the Scared Stiff. Loves it.
It's a good game. It's actually great. I mean, so the game's an easy game. It's not hard, but the shots are just average. But the humor in the game is just like what makes it good.
Absolutely. Now, when you come to the show, you've seen just about everything there is to be seen. Have you seen anything at this show that was like head turning or like grabbed your attention?
You know what? That means I need to walk the show. I haven't been out of my booth the whole time we've been here. Predator's here. I'm still in on Predator, and I need to do the get off the pot thing on that. Either do it or not, and go look at that. Man, Jerry's P3, the multimorphic thing. That thing looks good now. I mean, Jerry's been very dedicated on that project, and I think he's finally got something to show that people actually can understand kind of where he's going with it. And it's going to be a good pin. I may have to actually throw money at that and buy one.
I feel like they took a big step forward in the last year, where now you can kind of get the gameplay feel of what that's going to feel like and see what they can do and get the layout and the zooming cameras.
I know where Jerry's mindset is in that game, and for him having what he has here now, people who are not like hardcore pinball people or don't see the vision and stuff, now they can actually flip a game, see kind of a rule set, and get an idea of what it will be. That's exactly what he needed, and I think he's gonna do really well with that product.
Good. What are your thoughts on later model Sterns, the newest stuff? What, have you played Mustang yet?
I haven't played that. I mean, I used to be a pretty bad Bally Williams snob, and here as of late, I mean, at the end of the day, Stern, even though they put some games out that maybe aren't that great, their good games are great. I mean, their code is good. You don't get Lord of the Rings code in anything Bally Williams. So I mean, I think all the late model Stern stuff's awesome. I looked at Mustang. Will I buy a Mustang? No, because it's just, the theme doesn't do anything for me. It's the same reason I never wanted a Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz could be the greatest game in the world, and I don't want to look at Dorothy when I walk into my game room. And I'm just not a Mustang guy. But I will say that once the artwork and stuff came out, it actually looks pretty good. It's actually not a bad looking game.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look bad. It's certainly eye-catching, if nothing else.
Right.
Do you notice a trend? So when I walk the floor, I see pretty quickly the games that are LED'd out and really bright and shiny. Like there's a Judge Dredd over there by one of the LED booths. It's just one of the brightest Judge Dredd I've ever seen. And then you walk by and you see some of the older games with all incandescent bulbs.
So my thoughts on LEDs, kind of?
Yeah, like what are your thoughts?
So like all my personal games have got like Cointecher's retro LEDs in them, the warm lights.
Yep.
I mean, I'm very much on board with LEDs. I'm just very much on board with not giving somebody a seizure when they play the game.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you can do it, if you can do LEDs and make them look tasteful, I'm all for it. But then you got issues like Spider-Man. I'm running LEDs in my GI, but I'm running incandescents in the inserts for the very reason that, like when you're playing Spider-Man, you got 2x and 3x multipliers. You're a 2x multiplier in your shot when you're lit halfway. Well, you're a 3x multiplier when you're lit full intensity. And there's a guy that I can't remember his name off the top of my head. There is a board you can.
The OCD board.
Yeah, the OCD board. I've got one. I just never have messed with it. But so for now, Spider-Man needs to run incandescents because that's the way the game is designed to run. So I guess until I figure out the OCD or mess with it. Then you got with Stern, with their LEs coming out designed for LEDs, I think those play well. I mean, Tron looks good with LEDs. The LE looks good with it.
Have you played the new Medieval Madness remake?
I have not. Man, I'm not a big Medieval. I mean, Medieval's a good game. I bought mine 4 or 5 years ago just for the pure purpose because it was a medieval, and I called it one of my trophy pins, which is everybody wants to have a medieval, and this is the holy grail pin. Game is what it is.
How much is it?
Just take one. Just take one.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
So that's what we call being interrupted.
No, that's all right. We're out on the floor where it's going to happen.
Yeah, right.
So you have a medieval right there with a color DMD in it, and you don't
price tag.
and a price tag. Well, I can't see the price. What,
It's
$17.50?
Yeah, 12
12 for me. Oh,
12 grand for
12,000. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so for with medieval with me, I'd rather play an AFM. You know, it's still an A-list game, but I like the game better. I don't hate medieval, but because the eliteness of I've got a medieval madness doesn't exist anymore because Rick is going to pump out as many as he can pump out. There's just no point. I mean, there's no point in me having it. That game literally sits in my warehouse except for the 3 days a year that is at the Texas Pinball Festival.
Wow.
So I have a.
You're breaking hearts with that comment right now.
Well,
Hearts are shattering.
Well, so I can lie to you and tell you I played every day.
No. I like the truth, but I'm just,
Yeah, dude, I got a lot of games that sit in my warehouse and only come out for 3 days a year.
How many games do you own right now?
My warehouse, like right now, I'd say the inventory's a little bit down. I've probably got 75 games out there.
Yeah, you said this year started off pretty good, selling some games.
Yeah, this year's been good. I like to keep like 100 games in inventory. The personal collection is like 22 right now. Like 20 to 25 is kind of where it fluctuates. As far as like setup in the house, 6 or 8 pins. About all I got room for.
Do you have a showroom?
No, man, I am like work out of the house kind of guy.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And website is elevationgames.net.
.net. Yeah, because some jerk in Europe bought the .com.
Oh no.
I wanted way too much money for me to buy it.
Oh no.
We try to keep overhead low in the great state of Texas.
I understand. Well, I am enjoying this. I really appreciate you letting me hawk my t-shirts off of your table.
Yeah, now the t-shirt's done.
Really well. I think we sold about half of what I brought, which
It is crazy. Who would want to buy a t-shirt?
Who would want to buy my t-shirt, right?
That's the reason I don't print my own t-shirts, because who wants my t-shirts?
I agree. Well, you have these fancy.
Those are Randy stickers.
Randy stickers are cool. You got stickers.
Yeah, we let Color DMD pimp their stuff over here too. Yeah.
You seem to be the test location for the Color DMD stuff. That's nice.
Man, I've dealt with Randy for probably, I guess ever since the beginning. I think I had the first medieval prototype, or like his Color DMD. I think I was the first one to show it at a show 3 years ago, whatever it was. And I don't know, ever since then, we've always done stuff with Randy.
That's cool. You're the first one I see that has the color changing, that fades in and out of the colors in the game. Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, it's in Spider-Man. Yeah, Randy sent me that. He talked about it like, 2 months ago, and he sent me something 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. Was like, what do you think? I'm like, man, that is badass. And I was like, you need to make that happen. And he got it done in time for the show, so we stuck it in there. Last year, we every Color DMD that had a game colorized for, we had that in the booth last year. So we had 6 or 7 games with Color DMDs all in a row. And this year, I think I got 5 games with Color DMDs. But yeah, I like Randy's product. I don't mind helping him out.
That's awesome. Well, I got to tell all the listeners, if anybody's in like the Midwestern part of the country and is looking for a game, you should, check Mark's site out. I can attest to all the games that you have here at the show that I've played are in fantastic shape.
Well, I appreciate that. The great thing is you don't have to be, you can be anywhere in the U.S. I got no problem putting it on a truck.
You'll ship it to them. Well, there you go. Well, if somebody's like this Bonsai Run in front of us is fantastic.
And it's a prototype, which is really cool.
That's very cool. That diner is one of the best playing diners I've ever played.
I did that just for you.
I appreciate that. Often I don't care for that game because it doesn't play right. It needs to be tightened up. That's really nice. Your Tales from the Crypt is really good.
Cool.
The games are excellent, so I would encourage check out elevationgames.net if you're looking for something. And I'm sure you can find people games, right?
Yeah, we do a lot of searching around and finding and all that stuff. Dude, I've been selling pins for 7 or 8 years, and we run through a fair amount. So yeah, it's not the first day running pinball machines.
Excellent. Well, Mark, thank you for spending some time here on the show.
Nate, I'm so happy you flew out.
I am too. Thank you very much, Mark.
You gonna push the button now?
I'm gonna push the button now.
No, not yet. No.
I gotta say, I totally outsmarted myself with all the microphones and recording techniques. I tried to get all fancy with Mark. We each had lavalier microphones that didn't work out so well. That audio was pretty rough. Sorry about that. Sorry, Mark. Sorry, listeners, if that was killing your ears. I tried to edit that as best I could. Well, that's it for the recaps. It was awesome. I can't wait. I have a ton of notes. I have, actually, man, if it wasn't so late, I wasn't so tired, and I didn't have work to do in the morning, I would love to just record episode 73 right now. But I'm not going to do that. So until we get episode 73 on the air, Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for supporting the show, buying T-shirts, telling your friends about it, liking us on Facebook, following us on Twitter, all that good stuff. Coast to Coast Pinball, episode 72 in the books. Texas Pinball Festival 2014 in the books. Take care.